Well, hello there. It's Katie Anya Carey, your Aura Alchemist and Soul Transformation Guide. I offer mentorship and many other sacred tools and practices and healing and psychic services. All of those things designed to help you create a life that's deeply fulfilling and allows you to live for the soul, for the person that you were meant to be, filled with purpose and abundance to create the dream life exactly the way you desire it. Herewith, living for the soul. This is your daily psychic transmission. Today is Wednesday, May 1st. Every day for the month of May, I will be offering a one day only special on either an e-course coming out or a service that I'm offering. If you are a first time client, you can receive 20% off your first psychic service with me. Please do not forget to subscribe. Let me know if this resonates with you. Check out my previous daily psychic transmissions because they are very juicy. They're not just applicable to that day. They include lots of lessons and manna and juice and honey and good transmission from spirit, as that is what I am always offering when I speak. So let's get into today's message. Happy 1st of May. Hello. Hello. Let's celebrate all the flowers. I love springtime. Let's get into it. I'm going to pull these comments up really quick and then I'm going to get into the message of today. So I'll be titling this video for you YouTubers, who is a bad influence in your life? And this is really, I thought it was really fascinating that this came up today because it really has been a natural building upon the things that we talked about last week that Spirit brought in about designing your support system, about looking at each life area and finding where your meh and your mediocrity is and figuring out how to bring that alive or how to make a plan to actually replace that with something that feels good so that you're not hanging out in mediocrity. Good morning, Alexandra. Good morning, Jennifer. Thank you. So there's been so much coming up about that last week, and then we talked about insecurity this week, and now I want to talk about what your parents were talking about when they were so concerned about people being a bad influence and you ending up acting like the people around you. I know when I was a child, I took that really personally. I was a fiercely individualistic, very weird child. I was proudly weird at a young age. And I never was a kid that did what other kids did. In fact, I would get in trouble all the time when I was little because my mom and one of my older sisters, at least one of them, were all about matching and looking the part and being uniform and fitting in or being above, really. And so anytime that I clashed or anything like that, my mom would get so embarrassed and we would get in arguments even when I was little about my hair. And it was a constant conversation growing up about the fact that I absolutely did not care, which wasn't even because it was a talent. I literally just didn't get it when I was little. Like, it was very honestly confusing for me. I spent a lot of time being very confused. And my parents really chalked that up to a lot. They were really very confused by me as well. And so let's get into what that really means. Jennifer says, I always hated when other parents thought I was the bad influence when in fact it was their own child. I can resonate with that, having grown up. I grew up in the Mormon church. So I was definitely considered the bad influence, in which I was. So they weren't wrong. But they did call me a bad influence long before I became one. In my defense. Anyway, if you're here, comment replay. If you're here on YouTube, say hello. If you're here on Facebook, let me know where you're from. If it's your first time, let me know if this is hitting you as we get into it. Because now I want to talk about, now we know with law of attraction, and we know with the way that paradigm, the scientific factors of a paradigm is that you are constantly making up in sacred geometrical terms. As far as other humans go, you are constantly making up a point of 6 points. And I always like to compare this to a clear quartz crystal, because the way that a clear quartz crystal forms, a clear quartz crystal is made out of silicone, and it's very good for transferring sound. So while all crystals are malleable and all crystals are elders, spiritual elders that can teach you something, clear quartz crystals are specifically designed so that they can retain information and emit and amplify that information. You are a clear quartz crystal. That is what you are. And the inside geometric form of a clear quartz crystal forms 6 points in order to form one whole crystal. So if you were to get 6 crystal points together, they would holographically form the energetics of one big amplified clear quartz crystal. Not only that, but those 6 points can actually be metaphorically used, because it's really 2 triangles coming together. You can think of that in a 3D measure as a tetrahedron, which is really the magic and power of you. I'm very much condensing all of this into one thing for you. So if you think about the influence in your life, imagine you traveling through life and constantly making up and being part of a crystalline structure with other people. And together with the 5 other people that you're around the most, you are influencing each other, you are co-creating together, and you're amplifying the energy that you're always creating together. So when you think of it that way, especially if you think of yourself as a light worker, and most people in my sphere do think of themselves as newly awakened, or they very much identify with the light worker or light warrior mentality or belief system or school of thought. So especially if you're that person and you begin to think of your influence that way, what are you amplifying, and who are you coming together with to amplify what kind of energy all the time, every day? What does that look like? That wasn't the direction I was going to go today, but I say my prayers, and I get a couple sentences from Spirit, and I get on, and here we are. So bringing that back to influence, I got information about what I'm supposed to bring here, and then I decided to pull some cards in addition. And what came up first was that last week we told you to design your support system, and we told you to look at how the people around you support you, and are they supporting your pain? Are they supporting your goals? Are they supporting your misery? Are they supporting your future? Are they supporting your peace and comfort? Or are they supporting your bad habits? What are they supporting? Because everybody's supporting you in some way, right? But what came up to that is that some of you are internalizing that as an experience of self-pity, which is why I pulled the 5 of Pentacles card. The 5 of Pentacles is somebody who's very much stuck in self-pity. And while their circumstances aren't ideal, they are forgetting that they are creators momentarily, and they are feeling a little victimized, and they are feeling a little alone. And this card is called the self-pity card because it's not true. It's just a feeling, and it's actually just an attitude, and it's looking at the wrong things around you. So when it comes to deciding what type of influence people are, the reason this came up is just because somebody is not capable of supporting you doesn't make them a bad person. It doesn't make them a bad friend. It doesn't make them toxic. It doesn't make you a victim and them some sort of monster or abuser. They are not the villain just because they don't fit the role of support for you. So we're bringing in that information, we're bringing in that lesson, and we're amplifying it as we talk about influence. Because in order to take those people less personally in your life, the people that didn't love you the way they were supposed to, the people that aren't loving you the way that you need to be loved now, you need to realize that you can't take people's lack of belief in you personally, because they can only believe in you to the point that they believe in themselves. Not only that, but other people can only believe in you to the point that they believe in the world around them and their environment. They can only believe in you to the point that they believe that things are possible. So if they are not somebody with big enough vision and ambition to hold space for the world, then they definitely can't hold space for you, your goals, or your future. And that's okay. And that's not bad. And that doesn't make them toxic. That doesn't make them less than you. It doesn't make them evil. It doesn't make them stupid. It doesn't make them simple. It just makes them different than you. And it just means that they're not qualified to fill that role in your life. And that's okay. That just means that they didn't make the interview process. Good morning, Lori. And that's why we also pulled the Nine of Wands for today. So by the way, that was what I wrote down. That was the sentence I wrote down. The thing I just talked about, that was going to be the message. And then Spirit stretched it out to this. So the Nine of Wands is the card that says you are, then this came up for us. Beginning of last week, this card was here. This is the card that says you are so close to the end, but your attitude has you thinking that you're, and at the end as in, you are so close to the end of your struggle and the beginning of that which you have been building and desiring for. Yet, if you shift your attitude, if your attitude goes backwards, if you get into this victim-y stuff, if you get into this poor me stuff, if you start sharing your struggles right now with people who didn't believe in you in the first place, they're just going to make you feel better about failing and tell you that failing's normal. And failing's normal, that's true, but failure is also a part of success. Failing is not normal as in giving up. Failing is not normal as in it's normal to think that things are possible and find out that they're not. Do you hear the difference? Do not bring your problems this week or today or ever to people who are just going to, who never believed that those things were possible in the first place. Because their version of comfort to you is not going to be, you're right, you failed, now get up and do it again. Their version is, it's okay, you thought, you believed in a pipe dream, and that pipe dream was false. And I have compassion for you, and I believe in your ability to be common and regular. And now you've learned, and now you can go back to doing common and regular things, and I'll support you in that. Do you want to go get a drink tonight? That's not your friend. Is that the clear quartz crystal amplifying energy that you want to be in the world? Is that what you want to be helping to program? Is that the collective that you want to tune into and amplify in your life? That's what you want to create with? That's who you want to create with? I already know that's a no. Because if it's a yes, you would not be here. You would not be watching me. I create this message not for the collective, but for you, number one. Number two, if you're here at all, it's because you wanted more in your life. If you consider yourself awake at all, if you even relate to that term, it's because you consider yourself as somebody who is awakened to the reality that you can have more than what you have, and then the world is more than what it appears to be, and that there's something worth looking for and seeking. If you're awake, you believe those things. And if you believe those things and you're a little bit unhappy and you're a little bit confused, it's because you need to be taking the steps that have been coming through these messages for the last week and a half and that have been coming at you in every moment of every day from divinity to you if you learn how to open your eyes and your ears and listen and pay attention and respond and take the actions that you're being inspired to take. And you cannot do that if you're hanging around with 5 other people who do not believe that what you are going for is possible, because they'll only be capable of supporting you up until the limit of their own beliefs and their own perceived possibilities. So do not pour yourself into somebody's limited container. Surround yourself with people who intimidate you. The best way to get out of this, you want to know how to actually be around people who are going to stretch your possibility. Look at where your judgments are, what you think is possible. Look at who you're suspicious of. Look at who you really don't believe. When you see somebody's success story, be really honest about your question marks about those success stories. Then go find people who challenge that question and go be around them all the time. See how they talk to each other. See how they talk about the world. See what they show to the world about themselves. See how they carry themselves. Look at their etiquette. Look at their choices. Look at their values. look at their relationships and their connections and the way they choose to do things, and those judgments eventually will drop. Eventually, just by being around that frequency, doors will open for you. And all of a sudden, you won't have judgments. You'll have more possibilities. Good morning, Karen. Do not pour your doubt into somebody else's container who could never fill their container with your possibilities in the first place. And it's not their job to hold the container for your possibilities. That's why resonance and influence is important. Because they need to be living life for themselves, and you need to want them to live life for themselves. Okay? So you are doing a better service to them by letting yourself be up-leveled. If they are where they are, leave them there. That is the most sacred thing that you can do for those people who don't have the space to support you or believe in you in the way that you need. Because it's only limited by their belief systems and has nothing to do with you. So it's your job and your responsibility and your power and your opportunity to go and find other people who can hold space for that. And I don't want to hear that it's not possible, because you're not asking enough questions. You're not willing to do something different. You're staying in convenience. You're waiting for things to show up for you instead of going and finding it and creating it and imagining it and stretching it. It's your responsibility. We're bringing the heat today. These are the heat cards. It's your job to go meet new people. It's your job to go places you've never been before. It's your job to think outside the box. It's your imagination that's creating your reality. It's your God power that's inside of you. So it's your job to go find the people that are going to influence and stretch you. And it's not anybody else's fault if you're hanging around the people who cannot fulfill that job for you. Yes, yes. 9 people watching? Can I get 9 yeses? Are you Are you hearing this? Is it speaking truth? Is it inspiring you? Is it lighting a fire under your ass? Is it motivating you? Is it inspiring you to take more responsibility? Are you having more compassion for other people in your life in this moment? Are you willing to let those people leave the villain seat now? Because it's your responsibility to support yourself, and that responsibility includes finding the people who are the right people to support you. That's actually what support for yourself looks like, is doing the work. Thank you. Yes, yes, yes. All right. That's the fire today. Yeah. That's the message. You know, what's funny is I wrote this down. So I get downloads all the time, so just notepads everywhere, and my husband's notepads just have like random download pockets, like, talk about this. So Spirit kept showing me this one for the last few days, and I was like, it's just one sentence. What's going to come out of this? But here we are. 20% off with code FIRST on a psychic service. If you have not ordered a psychic service with me even this year, you'll still be able to use that code as a first-time customer because I have a new setup. So if you'd like to order a psychic reading from me, you want to look like how you want to find out what the action steps for you is to get the support you need to get the success that you want, I recommend that you get a psychic transmission reading from me. And you'll get 20% off if you use the code FIRST. I would love to hear from you. You can reach out to me directly. You can slide into my inbox. You can slide into my email. You can contact me on my website. You can comment that you would like a reading, and we can go from there. I would love to serve you. I love you very much. Do not forget to subscribe if you're watching this on YouTube. If you're watching this on Facebook, this will be uploaded on YouTube, and I highly recommend you subscribe because I have not been doing all of these daily transmissions on Facebook, and I will rarely do them on Facebook after the month of May. Namaste, aloha, and so much love. Don't forget to share.